As you might have discovered, people love to share pregnancy and childbirth advice, right? Or that horror story about a 60-hour birth. But the thing is, while people mean well when they offer this advice or these stories, for the most part, it's all based on personal experience and what did or didn't work for them. But each woman, every body is so unique, and what worked for that woman might not work great for you, and vice versa. So first of all, I think it's really important to definitely, seek out lots of different information via books, childbirth preparation classes. But then I think it's equally important to really tune into your intuition, know that you can trust your instincts, and as you explore, as you weed through all the information, really focus on the fact that what you choose to accept and the techniques, the interventions that you do or do not choose to utilize needs to be based on what you feel is right for your unique needs, not what your mother or your sister or your best friend thinks you should do, even your partner. Ultimately, it's all about what you feel is right for you. So how do you figure out what is or isn't right for you? So to not get overwhelmed by all of the information and just feel like pushing it aside and not dealing with it, I recommend taking 2 techniques or 2, ideas, concepts, potential interventions about birth, and either practicing it if it's a technique or meditating on the idea each day. So for example, breathing techniques. So you can take different breathing techniques that you've heard about, practice the different techniques one day, and start to hone in on which one or a few techniques, which ones work for you, and go ahead and write it down. Write down the techniques that work. And then, for example, maybe your second thing is considering whether or not you want an epidural. So that day you can do research on epidurals, you can, seek out information from women that that had an epidural, even though you won't necessarily have the exact same experience. It's just part of the information gathering. And then just really sit with it. Sit with the information, sit with your instincts about whether that feels like the best decision for you. And then write that down. You can say, yes, I do want an epidural, or you can make a note to add to your birth preferences that, at least in the beginning, you don't want to be offered an epidural. Of course, you can change your mind with any of it, but this is just helping to set you up for a more informed, empowered birth experience. So as you go through your, 2 things each day, if there's items that you're like, what, that technique, that idea, that piece of advice doesn't really work for me, just let it go. Let it go. You don't have to explain to anybody why you're not going to utilize a certain piece of advice or intervention or whatnot. This is all about you. And by the end of it, you're going to have this wonderful list that is going to help inform you and your birth supporters about how to best guide you and support you through the birth experience. This is also going to help you create your birth preferences. I have a video on this channel about creating that. And again, hopefully at the end of this experience, you'll feel really informed and again, really empowered that the decisions that you're making are based on what feels right for you. And again, I think it's also really important to know that as you move into labor, we don't know what's going to happen, right? So you might go in with a set of ideas about how you want it to go, and it might go differently, but to realize that if things do shift from the original path you thought you would walk, that's okay. It does not mean at all that you're a failure or you didn't do something right. It just means that birth is unpredictable. But all of this preparation will help you, again, have more courage as you move through the experience. If you have any stories about wild advice that you've heard when you were pregnant, I would love to hear about it. Leave it in the comments below.